That's like not enough of you.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, ThatCreepyReading, and today I am joined by my co-writer, the Owl Dude, as well as...
Dovendraw.
And...
Oh,
Yeah.
me.
We said we wouldn't do that.
JJ. Alright, sorry.
he promised me he wouldn't do this.
Yeah, no, I
What
didn't.
is wrong with you?
I would
Yeah.
do it.
Why?
It's fun.
Anyway, Solidus JJ, me, and Dovendraw. Today we're going to be hosting the Disturbing Video Games panel, and tomorrow we'll be doing the Disturbing Animations panel. Just as a quick aside, while we're going through this, so no one's bamboozled or misunderstands, we do have a. I wish we could make these bigger. So
Oh yeah, I
can read
can't.
them.
Don't worry. Watch this. Wow.
Oh wow!
Wow, look at that. You can't see what we're doing, but it's amazing.
All right, cool. So today we got a quick viewer discretion advisory. Discussions of IRL shootings, extremely violent and distressing subject matter, racism, cancer, and potentially sexual violence might be discussed at this panel while edited for a general audience for the purposes of education. Exercise caution moving forward. The subject matter, even in just the broad discussion of it, will make you uncomfortable. No shame in leaving, I'm not looking to traumatize people.
Luckily, it's an 8:30 panel, so we can say some bad words.
Like
what?
darn.
Darn. Ooh. Can't say that one.
Can't say that on TV.
I don't know.
Ooh, hell.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Now, with that said, let's begin the panel. The first category of games we're going to be talking about are disturbed games. I know that kind of sounds self-explanatory considering the name of the panel, but specifically, these are kind of the games that would be very difficult to explain to your mother. If the subject matter of the game is the kind of thing you wouldn't want to bring up at, like, I don't know, dinner, with your friends, or, this is where it belongs. All right, so.
You kind of have an interesting definition of the word disturbing. You've told me in the past that you almost take it to mean, like, stuff that makes you think.
Yeah, this is the stuff that makes you think about bad stuff.
This stuff is kind of messed up.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
The first game we're going to be talking about is Lily's Well, created by developer Pure Ice Blue. And first panel?
Very nice.
If you want to...
Sure. So Lily's Well is an RPG Maker game. The sort of main gameplay loop is that you'll be going around this overworld map. You'll be solving puzzles and trying to collect materials in order to build a rope that you'll then use to lower yourself to the bottom of a well. So you can see in this screenshot that we are exploring the house right now, but there are a couple of other areas like a graveyard. There's like a forest where you can be ambushed by monsters and stuff. It's great. Once you have enough materials, so that could be anywhere between like 1 or up to like 9 segments of this rope.
And these segments could be made out of different material. For example, something like a chain will definitely hold your weight a lot better than a roll of toilet paper, but both are rope.
Both are rope. Once you do decide to go into the well, though, it is a one-way trip, and you will be receiving one of the game's endings based on how much of the rope that you're using.
Or what you used in the rope.
Unfortunately, all of these endings do result in tragic kid death. Because when Lily hears someone crying for help at the bottom of the well, y'all ready for the twist for this game?
It is a clone of her. The whole twist is that every single one of the deaths that happens in this game is canon in some way, where as you go through, you're able to remember what stuff happened in the past, and, well, it's eventually revealed that the main character had actually died and was being cloned by some nefarious Papa figure, as anytime Papa's introduced in horror, it's never good. But I'm about to show you a screen of one of these deaths that is a little bit more tame, but it is still pretty up there and a little bit more grisly than we're used to. It's still pixel art, but, I'll show it to you. Yeah, they're all like, even with its limited animation and like pixel art style, it really gets there, And, considering that the game is actually only like $10 on Steam.
Yeah, not too bad.
Absolutely fantastic game. At least for the price point. And if you're looking to be disturbed, here you go.
Something else that's crazy about all these different endings is each one that you get reveals a phone number in a sequence of numbers that when you call that phone number as Lily, you'll get to talk to the original Lily, who's in her 20s now and didn't actually die. And if you're feeling bad for Lily, don't worry, her and the original do decide to burn down Papa's house and all of the kid cloning experiments with it. So we get a happy ending. They even go out for pancakes afterwards. I'm not kidding.
It's fantastic game. Pure Ice Palooza developer. They put a labor of love into it.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next game, and this one will be rather quick. It is called My Eyes Deceive.
Another bad Papa game.
Once again, a mysterious figure who goes by the name of Papa. This game is set over the course of roughly a week. You play as a young girl who is living in a shelter all of her life, and the outside world has been infected with some sort of deadly disease. Society is in chaos, but fortunately for you, you have a loving father who is taking care of you.
Or at least, that's what he wants you to think.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. So, first piece of evidence. This, just as a quick reminder, this is a completely free game on Steam. And it's very short too, with a very pungent yet disturbing twist. It turns out that everything I just told you was a lie. Papa is evil and had been using sedatives to knock you out at night. So from the little girl's perspective, she had been living in this basement her entire life. People have been somewhat looking for her, and she doesn't have the knowledge to understand what is happening at all. In the game's like good ending, she gets to see the sun for the first time.
This is the ending where, when faced with the choice of whether or not to continue to trust Papa and take the medication that he's been ordering you to take, which he claims is an antibiotic against the disease that's ravaged the world outside, if you decide to stop taking the medication, she'll be able to go outside.
And if you decide to keep trusting Papa, you get this comment. It's a disturbing little title. It makes me really uncomfortable for obvious reasons. And while it doesn't show anything, it does really convey the idea of human trafficking from the perspective of a child. Oh, God. Yeah, no, I ain't going there.
I don't think that's what it is.
So, moving on to the next title, this is something that a lot of you guys might know because it got a resurgence of popularity recently, Fear and Hunger. This one is an amazing game. I've been playing it a lot recently. Long story short, I had to cover it for the Disturbing Games Iceberg, and yeah, no, getting footage for this game is notoriously difficult, especially if you want to keep the green dollar sign.
I always like it when a Discord colony is showing me the game, and it's like, oh, I got infected and then died. It's like, is this game supposed to be fun? And it's like, yeah.
Ah, darn, I stubbed my toe on a nail. Gotta cut off the leg. So, in this game, you play as one of 4 characters. You can name them yourself, but they do have their own canonical names. And it's kind of built almost like a RPG maker, what do they call those, immersive sims?
Yeah.
You told me at one point that it was started out as a collection of hypotheticals.
Yeah, when this game was first created by its developer, Miro Havarian, it was originally started as him just asking his college and high school friends a series of hypotheticals of what would you do in this situation if you were trapped in a dungeon? And I guess one of those was like, would you trade a human child to a man named Pocket Cat for Necronomicon?
Immersive Sim is a very apt comparison compared to other RPG Maker games, which will typically have a focus on the turn-based combat. This game will have you doing things like, in addition to selling children apparently, hiding, sneaking around, disguising yourself.
Every
using traps.
item usually has more than one use. For example, you could throw a red vial into the face of a monstrosity, and then he can't see anymore. But sometimes that red vial could be better used in clearing out a caveway. Obviously, I'm not about to show what's under that sensor bar.
For those of you who've noticed, yes, this is one of the reasons why getting footage for the game is so difficult. In fact, There is even a mod available for the game that makes it stream safe.
It puts censor bars on everything that needs to be censored. But yeah, there are so many things in this game that is disturbing. For example, I was trying to record footage of me stubbing my toe and dying, and in the process of that, this big man assaulted me in uncomfortable ways, and I had to spend about 5 minutes crawling around a blood-filled dungeon waiting to die of my infected foot.
Yeah, this is you trying to pitch me the game. I was like, are you having fun?
A little bit.
Yeah.
There are lots of guys in this dungeon. You do not want them to get your hands on you.
And the cool thing about it is that like there's like a distinct like beginning, middle, and end game to the game. Like you'll be going through the motions, and you're trying to get through even like the first level when you first start picking it up, because you load the game up and then you get killed by dogs like 3 seconds in, and then you load it up again, you find a different way. Oh, and then the guard kills you instantly, and oh, I got hit by a thing. I'm like infected with something. Cool. Oh, a parasite's ate me, I guess. 8 hours later, that save's gone. But you get past that, and then you like run into an enemy you've never seen before, and then it plays that song, Pulse and Anxiety, and like all of a sudden it's like, and I'm like,
Oh no.
the boss fight just started and it's doing blah. It didn't do that before. Oh God, I'm gonna die and have to go back again. It's absolutely amazing. You think you get your hands on it, you're doing good, and then it's like, no, you're gonna still die.
Probably best to keep things moving.
And keeping things moving, recently, Miro Havarian released the sequel to Fear and Hunger 2. While the first one plays more like a survival horror game with like some immersive sim elements, this one's very much closer to like a JRPG. Like you kill enemies, you cut their heads off, you offer those heads to the old gods, and then you get experience points, which makes you better at killing enemies and cutting their heads off, and
Yeah, as you do.
It's not the quite same gameplay loop, but it retains a lot of what makes Fear and Hunger 1 great, while putting more of a focus on the combat aspects. Now, with that out of the way, you guys have officially survived the Disturbed Games part. The rest of you ain't weak. Moving on to psychological horror. Psychological horror games are usually defined by games that are more rooted potentially like either in a mental illness or into like a state of being, something that's like more relatable without being like overtly horrifying, if that makes sense. So going into the first one, I'm gonna basically let my roommate here take handle of this because he knows all about these games.
Oh, certainly. Okay, so we're talking about Puppet Combo.
Yep.
So a quick bit of audience interaction. Go ahead and let's get a show of hands. How many of you guys enjoy scary movies? Right on.
Oh, good.
Now keep your hand up if you've ever wanted to star in your own scary movie. If you still got your hand up right now, you probably need some help. But I do have good news for you, because Puppet Combo games, they even will oftentimes have like promotional artwork for them that's made to replicate a movie poster. And a lot of them, it's like you get to star in your own horror game. It's really neat. So this first one, what do we have here? Oh yeah, okay, so this is Power Drill Massacre. And as you can see, someone's drawn, we love to see a pentagram.
Our favorite goat.
And this introduction sequence is sort of based off of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You can even hear the similarity in the titles, Power Drill Massacre, Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It definitely gives a lot of those vibes in the music and sound design too.
Where you're somewhere in the American South and your car breaks down in a bad spot, and unfortunately the only one who can help you within like 80 miles of here happens to be Ed Gein.
Bummer.
Aw, thanks, homie.
So you make your way into this like complex with the driller killer, and an interesting thing about this game that I don't notice a lot of people talking about is its bad ending. And it's not an easy ending to reach because the game has some tank controls that can make it a little bit hard to get your hands on. But if you make it all the way to the killer's secret lair, he'll actually trap you inside of a cage. He'll strip you down to your underpants and then terrorize you with this like freaky broken record player before he power drills you to death. It's absolutely sick. You have to experience it once before you die.
The tank controls
You
can
don't
be
have to
hard to
experience
like get over, but if you can get past the tank controls, it's genuinely one of the best games they made.
Nun Massacre is a game that actually broke away from that using tank control scheme and got some more popularity, arguably, as a result. But you can see here the nun poking over the ledge. This is so Nun Massacre. You're making your way through this Catholic boarding school, and you're being stalked by this nun. And, typically there are some ways to know when she's around. You'll have, like, a nun detector.
I detect the Holy Spirit on you.
The edges of your screen will start to get staticky when she's near,
Start screaming.
as it happens. But a lot of this, you'll kind of feel like you have a handle on being able to track where this nun is until she manages to trick you with it and throw all of that on your head and totally get you. And the scene you're looking at right here is one of the game's bad endings where you get stuck in a pit. And this is moments before the nun starts vomiting blood into the pit after you that deals damage and eventually kills you.
Oh, wow.
Hell yeah.
It's just a private school simulator. This is what it's like everywhere.
Honestly, I just think this is what the regular American Catholic school system's like. I mean, like, I've never been, but I just assume.
Just getting blood vomited on you? Oh no, it's the best. And then we're covering one more puppet combo game. This one is Murder House. It's one that's typically recommended as an introduction to puppet combo games. This one is one of the longer ones with a bit more production value, so great to sink your teeth into. Actually, when Creepy and I were playing through it on our first time, we were really surprised because a lot of these games tend to be shorter. So when we got
you could
past,
usually beat them in like 30, 20 minutes, maybe an hour at most.
yeah, especially games like Power Drill. But this one, we got past the introduction sequence, and we were shocked to discover that there was more game to play afterwards.
It's like you play like 10 games by these people, and it's just like, oh yeah, that was a nice short horror experience. And you get through this one, it's like, haha, that was really fun. Why is it still going?
As a basic plot synopsis, in Murder House, you are trying to evade the Easter Ripper. See, Puppet Combo kind of has this fascination for like furry, like furry killers who are named the Blank Ripper. Like we got Night Ripper, who's a duck. We got the Easter Ripper, who's a rabbit. If I had a nickel every time this happened, I'd have 2 nickels. But it's strange that it happened twice. You're part of this news crew who goes down to the house of this serial killer, presuming that he's dead already. You show up, but the realtor is not there, and instead the killer is. Shenanigans ensue. And an interesting thing about this game is that there's actually an uncut ending where after everything is said and done, see, I mentioned earlier that a lot of these games sort of have the pacing of a horror movie that you're the star of. Mm-hmm. At the end of this game, in the uncut ending, you discover that you were participating in a horror movie shoot the entire time.
Everyone gets up, they're all fine. It's like, oh, good shots, man, good shots.
Hey, you did an excellent job tearing my head off earlier. Props to you.
And,
yeah. I got one little thing. What I like about these kind of indie games is since it's obviously PlayStation or PSX inspired.
yeah, that's what the whole genre is called. We call them PSX games.
Because the PlayStation is so old, like 30 years old, JJ, we'll soon get PlayStation 2 inspired horror games. Are you ready for that?
Oh,
ready to feel old?
sick! I can't wait for the potato hands.
You get to flick on the PS2 filter.
And these games are about $3 to $5 on itch.io, so not that expensive, you know?
Not that expensive. Plus, I think if you give them money on Patreon, they just give you everything.
There is a collection you can get on itch.io where it's like you get Power Drill and Babysitter and Nun Massacre and Glass Staircase. Great selection.
You might get a call from your bank when they start reading these, but like you're good. Don't worry.
You paid for a massacre? Like a couple of them. And then, is there anything on that? Oh, it's a video, but I can't see it.
That's weird. It's not. Okay.
It's on there.
Can I play it? No. Oh, hello. There I am.
And this is just a trailer.
See, this is why you'll need to get close.
Oh, good. It worked. Was that all that you wanted to show?
I hope you all enjoyed the clip.
Hell yeah! We'll just move on.
Was there another thing you wanted to show?
No.
Okay, good.
Imagine an Avengers trailer like that.
I hope that all
would
all
go.
the videos ain't gonna play like that.
Well,
I would go.
If it does, then that's the disturbing part of this panel.
Hell yeah, it is. Welcome to Signalis. This is a game that, yeah, no, like straight up, all you people clapping, you're the real G's. I like passed on this game for a little bit because anime and horror, usually it's just niche gooner material.
Hey,
But
speaking of games where you can switch on the PSX filter, though, or the VHS filter.
the CRT filter.
This might not be the safest crowd to throw jabs like that. I don't know.
But the Signalis. It's a interesting game. It's super inspired by games like Resident Evil 2, the OG, not the remake. And you are running around in these like zones with fixed camera angles, and you basically have to solve these puzzles while dealing with these entities that have like overgrown infested in this ship. Now, because of how hard these puzzles are, you tend to have to like read all of the dialogue, all of the sheets of paper, all the grievance reports, so you could be like, all right, there's this valve puzzle, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Maybe this guy's complaint from 30 years ago will explain it. And usually it does, but sometimes it's just a guy complaining about something going missing. And
Seeing you run around the levels, and especially like these old complaints from like previous employees, almost gave me some Dead Space vibes.
it's like Dead Space meets Resident Evil 2. It's
With anime robots, what's not to love?
now, I played through this entire game and I struggled to remember the names of these characters, mainly because this game will throw German at me, Chinese, and then explain something in English, but all these things say different stuff. I had to have this guy in here to read the German for me, and I'm like, oh, so that's what a Kinderfrechen is.
Interesting to play this game.
Finally.
This is one of the cool things about this game is like the way that it tries to tell its story. You go through the map, you're trying to figure stuff out. There's someone who's gone missing and you are looking to find them. And as you complete these puzzles, you start getting closer. You start reading about all these android replicas like a la Blade. And you learn that each of these replicas are like based on a real person, and that you need to raise them in a certain way, otherwise their personality completely destabilizes and they can't do the functions that they were doing. You're also playing one of these people.
I'm sorry, did you say you raise them like they're a chow garden or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah. And they're also mostly girls.
Oh, no.
There's like one dude, but he's like super evil. That goes to show how they feel about the male robots.
Society.
It's heavily inspired by, other. Not only does it have like those Dead Space vibes, those Resident Evil 2 vibes, the puzzles, all that classic stuff, but it's wrapped in like a veneer of Lovecraftian horror. Like this game, if I wanted to spoil it for you, I couldn't. They wouldn't give me enough time. I've watched like a 5-hour-long video. I still don't know what happens. The guy's like, this is my interpretation of what happened, and I don't even know his interpretation. So it's one of those games where you can kind of like piece things together, and there are definitely stuff that is set in stone, but the vast majority of the plot, what's actually happening across its various endings, is left so like ambiguous that it's really up to you to decide what's even going on. Like some people theorize that the entire thing's like a dream, like a really bad creepypasta. Other people suggest that some of it's real and some of it's like the android matrix not working. And like as you're going through, you're learning more about all these things. It's like amazing. The only thing I will say is that when it comes to the like actual content of the game, like the shooty bits, it's more of a resource system where you're trying to collect bullets, you're trying to put people down, and then you're also trying to get flares so that they'll stay down. But I mean, like in terms of being like impactful or like as gripping as like the games it's inspired by, it's not quite there. It's most of the game's appeal is entirely in its story, and be ready to read a lot of logs if you're gonna do it. It's a very special game. It's normally $20, but I got it on sale for like 13. Consider getting it if you see it on sale. It's a must buy. And here is our trailer.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we're making good time.
Is that what you wanted? Is that all you wanted to show?
You guys got that?
Yeah.
Man, it only played 5 seconds of that.
Yeah, you have to memorize that, by the way.
Between none of the clips working, we might actually cover everything we have on our slideshow.
Oh my God! Right?
No, it's okay. We can just
We can move on with this
we-
one.
we-
Change the speed settings. So.
change the speed
But there is a few. There is one that we do need him to be able to read.
Oh, okay. We'll get to that one, don't worry.
Okay. So this game is called Flesh, Blood, and Concrete. It is free and on itch.io right now. So if you guys are looking at this and thinking, wow, I might want to try that one, literally no reason not to. This thing plays in your browser. It's practically a Flash game.
And it's free. That's good.
And mine's
Extra free.
crypto.
Extra free.
Okay, so developed by, God, that is a Russian name if I've ever seen it. Latte Inda Dev, something.
Let's say Lenzev.
Something like that. Basically, Flesh, Blood, and Concrete is a short 2D horror game made in what appears to be the RPG Maker engine, and is completely free to play through Windows, as well as browsers via HTML5. It was originally released October 1st, 2021, and has since been translated into Thai, Romanian, Chinese, Polish, Russian, and Spanish.
Yeah, you can't escape this game.
So, in this game, you play as a depressed girl named Lyra. It opens up with her driving into like this snowdrift, and in her own words, she doesn't know if her car can handle it, and doesn't think that she's even going to survive the trip, and doesn't necessarily care if she will. And then car gets stuck in the snow. She leaves her car, and she's greeted by Nina, this little girl right here. And for considering the situation that they're in and how everything's going on, she's oddly jovial in the face of all these, horrific things that are happening. You go to this abandoned apartment, sort of dealio.
Don't it always seem to go, kids in horror media? They just, why are you playing in the attic of this scary house? Don't you know there's danger here?
Yeah, it definitely is. As you're walking through this like abandoned apartment, looking for a phone, looking for help, looking for this little girl's parents, you start discovering that some of these rooms are a little gross, as you can see on screen now. There's a little bit of a blood stain there, nothing to be worried about. And as you're doing this, Lyra is giving like her own personal insights on what's going on in her life, what's going on in her head, and showing off a bit of that depression that really is best experienced through the game. This little girl is basically going, life is great. Man, I wish I could leave this apartment. And, the juxtaposition between the two perspectives, you have someone born from a clearly malevolent entity who wants to live and be free, and then you have someone who is free and could live not wanting to, literally throwing themselves into basically the bowels of what's going on here. And what is going on here isn't necessarily really explained. It kind of just like flashes a lot of like horror at you, and then it leaves you with the choice. Give up, die in this like relatively painless way and be remembered by the house, or try to escape, with the possibility of escape being extremely slim according to the girl, and likely leaving you to starve to death and die in a much more horrifying way. And you're given the choice to do one or the other. If you choose to just die, you peacefully just stop existing. And it leaves you with this very hollow and comfortable feeling within your chest when you do that one. And I don't really consider this even to be a real ending. But the other ending, where you choose to live, the character makes a long soliloquy about, what the meaning of life is, and even if it is hard to get through, even if it does feel like you're fighting tooth and nail just to even get through another day, that it's ultimately worth doing that. And I feel like that message is very beautiful, especially to those who suffer from thoughts of not wanting to exist anymore, depression, and all that. Because a lot of time it can feel like every day's a struggle, and every time it's hard. And having that horror of, realizing you don't want to be anymore conveyed in such a fantastic, compact game. Straight up, it's only an hour long. It's free on itch.io. You guys should play it when you're home.
I always like those kind of like hour-long experiences you play on like a Wednesday afternoon, and you're like, well, now what do I do? That was depression for like a full hour. Do I watch Bluey or something after this?
Yo, take a Bluey break when you're done. It will help.
It's a very sobering dichotomy.
Yeah.
Give up or don't. Watch Bluey or don't.
I don't know about you guys. I really like this trend of these games where it's like, well, what happened? And it's just like, fuck you, figure it out. I don't know. Fuck you. You got it.
Well, hey, how
you made it
often
this
do you
far.
understand what's going on in your nightmares?
Thanks for the $20, asshole. Figure it out.
All right, we're going into the next next one here. Existential horror. Existential horror games are less about the mind and more about existence as a whole. This is like the horror of living in a world that is fundamentally not built for you, not built for people, not built for us,
New
so to
Jersey.
speak. New Jersey, Detroit.
And it can also be the horror of being face to face with the end of your own existence.
Some parts of Fresno.
Those two, yeah.
The Lisa series. Now, this is one of my favorites of all time.
This is the one where he's gonna have the thing at the end, so we gotta.
We'll see if it works. If it doesn't, we'll make a joke.
If it works, I'll
We're mainly focusing on Lisa the Painful for the moment. You can go to the next slide if you want. So to give you guys basically a quick overview of the setting of Lisa, it is a post-apocalyptic setting that takes place in a place called Olathe, where there was this event called the Flash that isn't exactly explained, but the result of is that there are no women left on Earth, which essentially it means lights out for the human race. Every person who dies a senseless death, doing post-apocalyptic Mad Max shit, like beating the crap out of each other, that's a human life that you're not going to be able to get back, and that gives this underlying tension to a lot of the violence that happens in the game. And as you can see, we're about to get into one of those encounters I mentioned against another disturbing facet of the game, the Joy Mutants. Now, these guys are often like either boss or mini-boss encounters. And you've probably played, you know, an RPG Maker game with turn-based combat against a boss. Pretty standard stuff. You're like swapping attacks. Maybe you gotta figure out a stats condition you gotta overcome or something. Not so with the Joy Mutants. They do freaky stuff when you're fighting them. They cry, they
They're real
scream.
freaks.
Yeah, and then they've
you-
got these. Go for it.
I'll give you guys a quick example. You show up and you're like, what the hell is that thing? We gotta fight it now. Okay, let's start fighting it. You're punching it. It's crying, it's wailing, it's depressed, it's making people feel weird, you know? And then you get to like turn 3, it's still alive, it's doing good, and then it just bites the head off of one of your party members, and that guy's gone forever. And it's like, no! Terry! Terry Hibbs, come back!
You can go to the next slide. This actually leads really well because, you know, I've kind of like talked to Creepy on this on a couple occasions. Lisa's almost like a road trip that not all the homies make it to the end of. And an example of this is not only, you know, these one-hit kill moves that, you know, you could have permadeath inflicted on your party members just without any warning whatsoever. And there's this large roster of people that you can recruit into your gang to replenish your numbers. But another place where you're likely to lose rather a lot of them is this Russian roulette segment of the game, where it's completely RNG, and you have to win at least 3 rounds of it to progress. Afterwards, you're still welcome to play. Of course, your party members' lives will still be on the line. This is just a potentially very costly way to try and make a quick buck.
Russian roulette. Now, there's a bit of an underlying heart to this game. And, you know, with all the Mad Max stuff out there, with all the perverts out there that you're fighting, with all the Joy Mutants and, you know, allusions to drug addiction and all that, really, Lisa the Painful is about the relationship between Buddy and the main protagonist, Brad.
It's been said on a couple of occasions that this is a game that will ruin your life. It will draw you in with all of this really funny, black, dark humor, where it'll have really expert comedic timing, it'll draw you in with this heartfelt stuff. You'll be really into like the relationship between Buddy and Brad, but it turns out that maybe Brad isn't the best parent. Maybe he's withholding Buddy from the rest of the human race and potentially, you know, cutting off our ability to potentially repopulate the Earth one day.
You have a lot of opportunities in this game to either make a sacrifice on yourself or, you know, Buddy in order to keep going. In one instance, I'm not going to go into too much detail, but one of Buddy's body parts is at risk of being cut off, or one of your party members. Do you sacrifice your party member, or do you sacrifice what is purely a cosmetic feature on this little child?
And those party members we mentioned, they'll actually recognize the selfish nature of Brad's quest. And in the very end, when Brad goes off on his own to try to do the home stretch and bring Buddy back safe, that's when a lot of your party members will turn against you. And people who are in your main squad who may have been around since the beginning of the game will find it hard to kill Brad. It doesn't feel right to them. Just like the Joy Mutants, like they might spend turns like crying, deeply crying, not wanting to do this. It's hard to watch almost.
You know, and just as a reference to a panel I was on earlier with the superheroes and stuff like that, there is a chance that by the time you make it to the end of the game, Brad will be fighting as Armless Tiger Man. Not
That was a deep cut.
deep cut.
That most people will know.
No, but I do.
Yeah. We'll see if this clip's gonna play. You ready? You ready for this clip? You think it's
So
gonna
this
play?
this clip, if we get it to work, is an example of the kind of dark comedy you can expect to find in Lisa.
Am I supposed to do this? Go back one?
No, we gotta like go. Hold on, we gotta like press it, and then do that. Is it working?
It's up there.
It's up there, but it's not actually working. You know what? How about we just play the clip with no like him talking?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, he can't see it from here. It's kind of like
You could go behind Jay and then scream it.
Yeah, I'll just scream. Okay, let's do it.
Do it, Jay! Save the panel!
Backwards. How the fuck are you supposed to read it?
It's back.
Can I take this mic? Huh? There's an audience mic?
There's audience mic. Now you're part of the audience. Right there. You got it. I believe in you.
Ew, ew, ew.
Is this on?
Test?
Here we go.
There it is. You ready?
I've never played this game, so I'm going to be literally making this up as I go. I have no idea. Let's go. Oh, shit, I still can't read it. Give them to... Oh, shit! What do you want? This is my orphanage. All these kids have been abandoned. I'm taking care of them because no one else will. These fucking orphans. Why are you... Uh-oh, Tommy. Tommy, you did something. I don't know what you did. Oh, the suspense. It's okay, sport. Hey, could you hand me a bucket of water? Yeah, that one. No! Oh, that was my bucket of gasoline. My bucket of gasoline with the world without cars. That bucket. That's the one I need. Get that bucket of water, quick. Do some platforming. My kids are fucking burning. This is it, man. This is all that's left. There's like 6 of them. This sucks, dude. They're burning. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you checking your phone? You know, I was thinking of saying it, but like as a joke, but they really do smell like chicken. It's weird. You were too late. This is the second most tragic thing that happened in my life. That's my contribution to this whole thing. Like that's why I'm here.
I needed him for that part.
Thank you.
All right, we go next.
Fucking
Yeah,
kids,
just go,
man.
Just keep going. Keep pressing, keep pressing, keep pressing. That one. That's a good one.
All right, so I'm hearing a lot of claps. I wish I was hearing more. This game is criminally underrated. It is peak. It's not necessarily horror, but let me tell you, you're gonna feel like shit after this one. So first, let me quickly explain the controls to you in a nice visual I put together. These...
You see, around the eyes, we have the...
You
Oh,
use
come
your
on, don't
controller.
look at me like that.
So you use your webcam, and the webcam tracks your eye movement. And every time you blink, time moves forward a little bit. It could be a couple of minutes, could be 5 years.
It actually works in real life. Guys, try blinking now. Time keeps moving. It works.
And every time you blink, sometimes you want to sit there and like linger in a moment, like passing a school note, having an important conversation with your mom, a tragic event happening, a funeral, and you want to sit there and you want to linger in it. And then, while you're like getting engrossed in a story, you'll just be like, oh, shit. Oh, my dad's giving me my stuff. I'm moving out apparently. What the hell happened? But it simulates that feeling of time escaping, like sand slipping through your hands. And by using this involuntary eye movement as a way to progress the game, unless you're a freak who you can just keep it open forever, I don't know, it really creates this unsettling feeling of growing up and feeling like your life is passing by you.
But if you want to ignore all that, you have to get like a buddy to keep your eyes open, another buddy to like keep watering your eyes, so you keep looking around. So it's like, I don't want to learn a lesson.
A lot of you are probably in manual blink mode right now, but with just a couple extra words, I can add manual breathing to that too.
So the game begins, and you are a lost soul on this boat. It is unmistakable. You have died, and they want to know your story to figure out if you go up or if you go down. And this guy doesn't want to hear bullshit. He wants to know who you are, what's going on. And as you're like going through the game, you meet people like your neighbor, you're playing your Pokemon knockoff games, and things are like seemingly going well. You become an adult, you could potentially become like a writer or an artist or something. Your mom's visiting you and she's super happy, and then she dies, and you have to figure that out with your dad, and that keeps on going and going and going and going until it's like the guy like in like about halfway through the game is like, you need to stop fucking with me. That didn't happen. Nah, what you are playing as is a teenager who died before they could literally do anything. And while you did get to experience a full life through his perspective, that life never happened. It was cut short before anything. And you go through those steps of this kid being withheld from the world because of this illness that is getting worse and worse and worse until eventually it doesn't. Mm-hmm. And the big crux of the game, what it's trying to ask is a life that didn't do anything, that couldn't do anything, is that still worth something? Was that life still worth living? And I feel like the game is definitely saying that that's an emphatic yes. Because even if you haven't been on this world for a long time, you definitely have an impact on everybody around you literally every day. And each one of those moments is precious. And this game really helps reinforce that idea. It really helps give that idea through not only its narrative, but its gameplay. Mm-hmm. And that is something that very few games ever are able to achieve in any context. So that is before your eyes. If you haven't played it yet,
It's only $10 on Steam.
Only $10 on Steam.
Good price.
Get it. It's amazing. Use the webcam. Don't use the mouse. It's not as good. All right, and we're gonna move on to one of my personal favorite games, Night in the Woods. Hell yeah,
Show
Night
them
in
the
the Woods.
tattoos, dude. Show them the tattoos.
Hell yeah. I literally live for this. I can't talk about disturbing games without bringing up Night in the Woods at least once, or at the very least using footage. Night in the Woods has you starring a 20-year-old person named May the Cat. And May, or did I say May the Cat? They're not named that.
May
She
the
has a
Cat
real last
is
name.
possibly the character that I've seen you relate to the most out of any piece of media.
It is kind of hard to be a short person with trash mammal tendencies, but I get through it. May is a college dropout, and she returns home to a crumbling former minor town of Possum Springs.
Mining town, not minor town. Mining.
Mining, miners, same thing. Of Possum Springs.
I'm sorry.
Totally,
I'm
totally.
sorry
No,
about that.
you're good. You're good. You're good.
It's all ruined.
She's seeking to like resume her aimless former life of a slacker high schooler so that she can reconnect with the friends that she left behind after a unknown incident drove her from college. And whatever it is, it seems to be traumatic because she's completely unwilling to talk to everybody around her. When she comes home, things aren't the same. Home seems different, and her friends have grown up, changed, got jobs, and leaves are falling, and the wind is getting colder, and strange things are happening in town, like, cults and stuff like that.
As you do when you live in the Rust Belt.
Yeah, that's one thing that is like really cool about Night in the Woods. It's unique setting. Not a lot of games take place like within the Midwestern Rust Belt. Like, me and Alec here are from the Rust Belt in Michigan. And yeah, let me tell you, even though this game is set in Pennsylvania, there's a lot of correlation between the two areas. The sounds of trains, the weird layout of towns, the way that people these...
It's all very familiar to us.
The way that places that were once filled with people are seemingly emptying out, leaving behind husks and ghost towns and all that kind of stuff is thoroughly explored as you are exploring essentially a town that is shrinking and dying with no real future for anybody there. The idea of being trapped in a place that you cannot escape that is itself dying is a very real fear that is explored. And then while all this is going on, there's an underlying mystery of, why people are disappearing. Because it's starting to seem more like murder than just town problems.
Yeah, that's great, yeah.
I think I hit up.
Yeah, gotta go, up, down.
You gotta put the Konami.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, Konami code, yeah. You gotta do that.
In this game, you play, obviously you're playing as May, and then there's also a few choices that you can make. In the first part of the game, it's pretty much just straightforward. You get all the stuff, you get your tutorials, you do your platforming, and then you're given the choice of either hanging out with B or Angus, which is that fox there, Angus, or did I say Angus?
You say Angus, that's the bear guy, come on.
Yeah, no, I'm cringe. I literally have the tattoos, and I'm gonna die.
Hey, you had a long day. It's all good, bud.
I did. So you either hang out with B or Greg. Greg being the fox and B being the alligator. There are 3 total hangouts, and then after that happens, there's a penultimate event that happens.
Almost kind of like the routes in a dating sim, but not quite.
Yeah, no one's getting dated on. May is getting nothing but rejection out of this.
The only 2 dating are Greg and Angus. They are already happily together.
They are beautiful together. In fact, while the game was being developed, Angus was actually going to be a possible route that you could go for, but that ended up being cut. And the only remnant of that is in the investigation part of the game, where you can either hang out with B, Greg, or Angus for an investigation to figure out what's going on with the Dark Town, the secret, the Yog-Sothoth goat god that seems to be, getting its little tendrils and everything. And of course, there is a cult-like element, but ultimately, the real horror of Night in the Woods isn't rooted in the horror aspect of the game, but rather the existential dread of having a mental illness and not having the tools you need to function as a person, and having everyone around you hate you for it. And I feel like that's, this is very powerful for people who might have grown up in abusive households or, lived in parts of the world where the kind of money required for handling people with disorders, special needs, autism, ADHD, if you've had an IEP, you know what I'm talking about. There's many places in the world where there's just not the money to really diagnose or care for that. And May is one of those people that slipped through the cracks, and it explores her story. While you may choose what she says, she's the one who decides how it's said. And that can lead to a lot. Anyway, I've talked about Night in the Woods a lot. Let's see if we can get the trailer up from 2014, where Bee's eyes are still red and not blue.
We have.
That'll be on the quiz, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, you gotta do it like one more like this.
Did you get that?
We're gonna try one more time. Let's try this. Okay, that's
Yeah, you see.
perfect. Yeah, that's good.
Night in the Woods, everyone.
I just love Google Slides and how it works. It was
I
like-
love it. I love
Yep.
it. I love it.
This-
All right.
Well, no, sorry. We're doing a. Sorry, we're doing a presenter view so that we can't see that screen. Yeah. So yeah.
Like,
But you can watch it on YouTube.
fantastic. Yeah, but that was just to show you some of the music and all that stuff. Not that.
Yeah, very quick, I guess. 5 seconds.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the room like immediately knew how messed up this one is.
Got all your giggles out of your systems, right?
Yeah, there's no laughing matter
Only
outside.
bad times ahead. Strictly bad times ahead.
All right. This is a like mother-father development team, partially funded through Games for Change, as well as Ouya, if anyone somehow remembers that mess.
Oh yeah, I remember when he showed me this trailer, and I was like,
Made by Ouya.
oh yeah, Ouya.
But yeah, we'll get to the first one. Basically, the game itself is comprised of dramatized scenes, actual calls between the family and this very young infant child's primary caregiver as they go through the experience of trying to treat their cancer. One thing that a lot of people don't really understand about this game is that during the development of it, I believe they're the Greens? Joel Green, yeah. Joel and his wife didn't think that their kid was gonna die. They just wanted to make a game about how their kid's cancer was cured through faith and the doctors and recording their experiences and how that affected their relationships and all that stuff. But halfway through the development of the game, he died, and production needed to take kind of a different tone. And you can really feel this when you play the game because like there's this very big like hopeful energy, and you can like, you know, you're listening to this like dialogue where it's like, oh, you know, this is treatment day where, you know, those who are in our hospital, you know, we give them a cake and we say happy not coming back here day, and you know, there's all these like voice lines from when they were so much more hopeful, and then like the kid dies and like all the audio is just like, why am I not screaming right now? My world is dying. Everything around me feels like it's falling apart. And it's not just that, but you like get the wife going like, I don't know how I can look at my husband. The way that he's reacting isn't the way that I'm reacting. And you get this whole dichotomy. They even had their kids voice act in the game and write poems about their dead brother. And hearing these voice samples, these recordings, everything put together through a weird visual, even though there is a baby cart mini game in there, it is the most fudged up game I've ever played that has a Mario Kart.
It's
They,
almost
they,
like
they put
if you've ever
platforming
played-
in the baby cancer game. I don't know why,
I don't know why they.
but it's in there.
It
If
still
you've
has to be a
ever
little
played
bit-
What Remains of Edith Finch, it almost has a similar vibe where you'll play through a minigame that is related to something that's happening in the story. It's a little bit more of an abstracted representation of the narrative. And you're doing this with the understanding that the person featured in the minigame isn't going to make it.
Which is kind of cool, but it's exactly like that, except if every single one of the deaths from Edith Finch was like the baby one. And it was the same baby. And it's just super harrowing to sit through, and oh my gosh, darn. Out of curiosity, panel people, do we have someone waiting on us when we're done? Or could we like stay a little bit extra?
Nah, we're
Okay.
No, we're almost done anyway.
Yeah, I just had a few things.
Oh, good. The trailer. We're gonna see if no, it's not.
If I can play this is
Let's hope this
Hank,
works.
this is Hank Green explaining
Hank.
how much love he has for the community he's garnered after receiving the Game Awards, the Game for Change Award in 2016, presented by Matt Pat.
his heart on videos because
Oh my God, he's beatboxing.
That, yeah, he be glitched. I can't believe it. Okay. We were trying.
Not the reaction I was expecting.
This is about the Cancer Baby game, by the way.
There wasn't a dry eye in the
This
house
is Cancer
that night.
Baby game.
Clapping for the Cancer Baby. Okay.
You know, it's all right. It's your true colors. It's all right.
I would recommend, since I can't show it to you here, it's like a 3-minute clip, but when you guys are done and if you're looking for something that will really warm your hearts, because like this guy lost his kid, man, and having everyone come together to be like, your experience is valid, you deserve to be recognized for the art that you put out there. You know, just seeing that is absolutely fantastic. Now, before we go, I would like to see if you got any questions, comments, and concerns.
Maybe suggest some games. That'd be pretty good.
Should we use the mic?
Yeah, you can use the microphone.
I guess there's a microphone over here if you want to
Feel
talk.
free to line up at the mic and ask questions until they kick me out.
All right. So.
Just go like,
Hey, what's up?
Hi there.
Hey.
So, are there any games, whether they're mentioned in this panel or if you didn't mention them, have there ever been any games you've played that genuinely upset you, like left you so profoundly upset and discomforted?
demon phobia.
Mario Bros. 2: The Lost
I hate
Levels.
it.
Demon phobia.
Anything that just contains pedophile apologia, it makes me upset.
That too.
Apologia.
Yes.
Christ.
Like the person is a capital P and like they're into that and they wanted to make a game about why it's okay and make it horror.
Okay, even Vladimir Nabokov knew how to handle that sort of subject.
Also, I think the suicide of Rachel Foster also shouldn't exist.
You and me both, my dude.
We should let them. Thank you.
I still haven't talked about that one because it's like, stop.